Hello friends, welcome to Concept of Science. As promised, I am here with a video in which we will learn Newton's laws of motion. There are three laws of motion which were given by Newton. The first law is every object continues in its state of rest or uniform motion in a straight line if no net force acts upon it. So important thing to note in this law is that the object must be moving in the straight line. There is no net force acting upon it. Suppose we have a ball that is moving in this direction and there is no external force acting on this ball. And if it is moving with the velocity or speed u, then according to the Newton's first law, this ball should be continuously moving in this direction in a straight line. It should move without any stop. If there is a condition, if there is no force acting on it. But when we throw a ball, it doesn't continue to be in a motion always. Why? Because there is resistance or there is force acting or acceleration due to gravity. The earth is attracting that body towards itself. If it comes to the surface and it becomes in rest, or if a ball is moving in a surface, then there is a force of resistance which is acting opposite to the direction of the motion, and hence there is an external force acting on that ball and it comes at rest. Suppose there is a medium in which there is no resistance. There is a medium such that there is no resistance and we slide a brick in that medium. So what will happen according to the Newton's first law, that this brick will continue to be in the motion. Whatever speed it has, it will retain that speed throughout the time of that motion. So this is the first law of the motion. Now we will learn some examples of first law of motion. Suppose a bus is moving in a uniform speed and suddenly the brakes are applied. So what will happen, that all the passengers will lean forward or they will be thrown forward. This happens because the feet of the passenger come to rest suddenly because they are in contact with the bus floor, whereas their body continue to be in the motion. In a head-on collision between two vehicles, passengers are quite often injured when they hit the windscreen. Means in a head-on collision, what will happen? Suddenly, the moving object has come to rest, so your body is thrown at the windscreen and you are injured. The collision stops the vehicle suddenly, but the passenger continues their straight line motion in accordance with the first law and hence hit the screen. Means the body tries to be in the motion if it is in a motion, and only the resistance of the windscreen or there is a rod, you collide with the rod and you stop. So there is a external force required which will stop you, and that external force causes the maximum injury. Person getting down from a moving bus has to run some distance in the direction of the bus before stopping. People do this quite often. But what trick they utilize is that they just get out of the bus running towards in the direction of the bus. If he does not run, he is bound to fall because his feet come to rest, whereas his body is in continuous motion. In that person will fall forward. So this was the explanation of the first law of motion. Now we will move to second law of motion. The second law of motion states that the rate of change of momentum of a body is proportional to the applied force and takes place in the direction of the force. It implies that the force is proportional to the product of mass and acceleration. Now, let us first learn a concept, that is momentum. Suppose we call P momentum. Momentum is mass of a body and it is mass multiplied by velocity mv. So let us decode this law. This law implies that the force is proportional to the product of mass and acceleration. If we express force in newtons, that is the SI unit of force, and mass in kilogram and acceleration in meter per second square, we can write this second law as force is equal to mass into acceleration. This is the second law of motion. It is obvious that if the same force act on a 1 kg and a 2 kg mass, the acceleration produced in the 1 kg mass will be twice that of produced in the 2 kg mass. It is clearly evident here if the force is constant and mass is half. So suppose this is 5. For example, this is 5 and this is 5 and this is 1 into 5. 5 this means that 5 is equal to 5, right? But here the acceleration is 1. Now I am reducing the mass to 1 as the force is 5 and I have reduced the mass to 1 kg. Then I will have to increase the acceleration by 5. Then only 5 will equal to 5. So what does this mean? That if you apply force, same amount of force to a larger body, the acceleration will be less. And if the same amount of force is applied to a smaller body or a body with less mass, then the acceleration will be more. And here from this example we can also see that if we reduce the mass 5 times, we will increase the acceleration 5 times. So this explains the second law of, and this formula is very important. Force is equal to mass into acceleration. In traveling the same distance, a car consumes more fuel on a crowded road than on a free road. This happens because the car has to stop and start quite often on a crowded road. The repeated acceleration requires a force which ultimately comes from the fuel. On a free road, the car runs at a almost uniform speed, requiring fewer accelerations and hence less fuel consumption. This is a very good analogy. And the odd even formula has saved a lot of fuel according to the Newton's second law of motion. They ask you what are the benefits of odd even formula in the examination, write one, this one also. The third law of motion states that to every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. This statement means that if a body A exerts a force on a body B, then the body B is also exerting the same amount of force to the body A. So this is the third law. Let us explain it through some examples. If a person strikes a wall with his fist, the force on the wall is equal and opposite to the force on the fist. And that's why when you hit the wall, you get hurt. When a bullet is fired from a gun, equal and opposite forces are exerted on the bullet and the gun. So there is a huge amount of force on the bullet and the same amount of force is acting on the gun also. But the mass of the bullet is very less. So that force is creating more acceleration, and as the mass of the gun is more, it creates less acceleration. That's why you get the recoil. So as we learn from the second law, F is equal to ma, the force is same on the bullet and the gun, but the bullet moves faster and the gun recoils slower compared to the bullet. But there are equal forces acting on them. There are some applications of third law. Rocket propulsion. Just a few days back, there was a SpaceX rocket which launched, delivered the satellite, and then came back safely to the Earth. So the SpaceX Elon Musk company has made a rocket which can be used again and again. So that I thought you should know. A rocket contains solid chemical which burn to produce a high velocity blast of hot gases. How rocket go upward? Suppose this is a rocket. There is the fuel. What happens? This fuel burns and there is a huge amount of gases coming from this end. And as there is a movement of gas there, there is an equal and opposite thrust acting on the rocket, and that's the thrust which takes the rocket upward. Space rockets have liquid fuel together with the supply of liquid oxygen to enable them the fuel to burn. In what happens in the space that there is no oxygen, so how it will burn? So they carry oxygen also. That oxygen is used to burn it. A vehicle that requires oxygen in earth does not require to carry the oxygen because it can take the oxygen from the atmosphere, but in space there is no oxygen. That's why the space rockets carry oxygen with them. So what happens when the fuel burns? The large force created by chemical reaction propels out hot gases through the tail nozzle with a very high velocity. The reaction to this force, the large force created by chemical reaction propels out hot gases through the tail nozzle. So a large amount of gases are coming out of this with a very high velocity. The reaction to this force propels the rocket forward. There is an equal and opposite reaction. So if the gases are coming with that velocity, they are pushing the rocket upward. Though the mass of gases escaping per second is very small, their momentum is very large due to their tremendous velocity of escape. An equal and opposite momentum is imparted to the rocket, which, despite its large mass, builds up high velocity. There is one more example of third law of motion that is given in the book Tata McGraw-Hill manual, which is jet engines. The engine is a jet airplane, works on the same principle as a rocket, but there is a difference in the method of obtaining the high velocity gas jet. The fuel used in a jet engine is kerosene, that is paraffin, high quality kerosene, not the kerosene that you use in your home. While rocket carry their oxygen supply, jet engine draw air out of atmosphere. Therefore, jet engines cannot be used to propel vehicles into outer space where there is no atmosphere. What happens that they carry the air and throw it out through the back of this engine because of a high spin fan, and that creates a thrust forwards in this direction. As this fan is moving and clearing air from there to there, air is coming out of this nozzle with a very high velocity that pushes this in this direction, and that is the principle, or you can say basic principle of jet engine, which is according to the Newton's third law of motion. So please subscribe to my channel. Next topic will be impulse, work, power, energy. Thanks for watching. If you like, please hit like.